All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know that song. I actually had that playing this morning on the playlist. Welcome to the morning show. Welcome to the morning show. It is Friday, and we got a lot of good stuff to cover. I hope you guys are having a great Friday morning. It's almost the weekend. I'm excited. You should be excited. We should be excited as we get into the show today. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that thumbs up, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Click that bell, turn on your notifications so you don't miss a stream. Little channel house cleaning. We will be streaming all 4 divisional playoff games Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a hell of a weekend. I'm excited for it. I'm prepared for it. I'm going to be resting up. I'll be resting up tonight and getting ready for tomorrow. So it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be great. And then also Monday, we're going to have the college football championship as well. So we'll be streaming that. So we got a lot. We got a lot going on. We got a lot going on for sure. Shout out to you, Randy. I appreciate you liking the stream over on Facebook. Let's go. Shout out to the Facebook crew holding it down. Tactical, good morning. Good morning. Shout out to you, Michelle. This is good morning, Jay, listening in and ready for the 3-day weekend. I am as well. Right. Nice little 3-day weekend. I'm with it. You know, those aren't bad at all. We got some snow on the ground. I was out there snow blowing all day yesterday, shoveling. Fortunately for me, you know, I didn't pull anything. It was nice and easy. Got it all out the way, but we got a decent amount of snow, about 6 or 7 inches. So, you know, we're supposed to get a little bit more. It's supposed to get colder, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. Feeling good, feeling great this morning, feeling much better. And I do thank you all for the prayers for holding your boy Jay down. DJ Jean says, Friday, you already know. There it is. It says, polish your glasses real good so we can catch a glimpse of the action. Will do. Will do. Michelle says your knee is good and your tummy is better. I'm glad. Yeah, you know, just I'm still blessed to be at the age that I am, where, you know, it does take a little bit longer for things to heal, but when they do, I feel back 100%. I'm actually 100% today. I feel 100%, and I'm just glad and blessed to be able to say that for sure. For sure. All right, y'all. It's Friday. We got some good stuff to cover. Tom Brady, as far as his relationship with Fox. We'll get into Aaron Rodgers and as far as his conversation and in regards to the Jets and the future there. And then, you know, the Super Bowl security is being beefed up. We'll get into that. And of course, we got some other stuff we need to get into for sure. Shout out to you, Daniel. What up, man? Good morning. Good morning. Big T in the building. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Before we get into it, make sure you hit that like, hit that thumbs up as we get started. Joy Taylor is back. And once again, for the wrong reasons. And she recently went on her show and they were having a discussion about, you know, the Super Bowl. And, you know, she mentioned Trump. So let's go ahead and get into this one. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Tom Brady and the Patriots, you have to be in that conversation. But
yeah,
it hasn't started yet.
Don't listen to Joy, y'all. Started.
I mean, yeah, you can talk nonsense if you want to. It's a free country for a couple more days. No. Coming up, Dak Prescott balled out.
So you heard what she said. She said you can talk your nonsense. It's going to be a free country for a couple more days. Let's talk about this. Says trending, Joy Taylor says America will no longer be a free country when Donald Trump becomes president. Once again, you can talk nonsense if you want to. It's a free country for a couple more days. Now, here's what's wild to me about this. She didn't say this when Biden came in office, but now because Trump's coming in office, she feels that she needs to say this. She feels like she needs to speak her mind when it comes to the situation and give quick little blurbs and say little things, little jabs when it's not needed. First off, we know that when Trump became president, we were still free. We still were free to live in this country and do what we need to do to be successful and live how we want to live. Under obviously the situations that it was. Now, we also watched over the election and all the propaganda and all the garbage that it's not fire raining down on us. We are all okay. We are all working. We're all making money. We're all living life. We're enjoying ourselves. After the election, none of the garbage exists. But we still have people like Joy out here who's throwing out the propaganda and saying nonsense like this that doesn't exist. Guess what? After Monday, the country is still going to be free. You're still going to operate and move around just like I'm still going to be streaming. We're still going to be talking and enjoying sports. I'm still going to be handling my business. I'm still going to be loving and taking care of my family just like you guys are. We are all going to move on and live life the way that we have been, and even better. Even better. Because if you're considering who's in that chair to make your life better, then you're going about it wrong in the first place. If you aren't waking up every morning and saying, I'm going to take control of my life, I'm going to take control of where I am, I'm going to take control of being a better person, and no, I'm thinking that someone else is going to do it for me, then you woke up on the wrong side of the bed anyways. And I feel like that's where Joy Taylor has woken up when she starts to say stuff like this. And it's really unfortunate because there's no one there to check her on it. It's no one there to check her on it and tell you, hey, I believe in the opposite. They sat there quiet about it. Nothing to say. So what is going on with media where there's nothing that could be said in regards to this conversation? Because even if, regardless, you like Trump, you don't like Trump, the reality is America is free. It's free for you to decide that you can be whatever you want to be. And can't nobody say nothing about it. You could be wildly successful. You cannot be wildly successful. You have the options to be free in this country. And I think we're getting to a point where we're kind of forgetting that. I think we're kind of, going down this path now where people say whatever they want to say because the country's free. There's no repercussions of you saying whatever you want to say, depending on what kind of scenario it is. But for Joy Taylor to be on, a nationally syndicated show to say this, it makes it kind of interesting. How is it going to be free for a few more days, but you're saying stuff like this? You're not worried about the repercussions? Obviously, because it's still going to be free. That's why you can say things like this on the air on nationally syndicated television. But I digress. The reality is this, ladies and gentlemen. The propaganda that we see and the quick quips and the little jabs and everything, I think she's now at this point where she feels that she could say little stuff and keep her name out there. Hey, I'm just going to say this out there. It's going to, boost the ratings. Because I guarantee you after the Fox lawsuit situation, everyone's now running over to the show. How is she going to respond to this and how she's going to respond to that? She hasn't said anything about that lawsuit. Now, she said little things about relationships and so forth and so on, but she hasn't said anything about that lawsuit. She's been real quiet about it since we last talked about it, and I think it's working in the favor, right? Someone's like, hey, we're just going to push forward. We're not going to, talk about it. We're not going to keep going on about it. So, I can definitely see now where, let me say something a little wild because it's going to get people talking. And you're right. It's going to get us talking because when you say stuff like this, it doesn't make sense. And, I think you're definitely trying to appeal to the wrong crowd with it. So let me hop into the chat. To the chat. Tadigo says, here we go. Tadigo says, as if they don't remember he was the 40 for the president. Listen, I remember back in 2017, it was the same kind of conversation. People were freaking out. People were talking this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, everything was fine, right? We went through our situations. We went through, what we went through. The reality is this. At the end of the day, the country is what the country is. And you're either going to maneuver through it and be great, or you're going to be down in the dumps and you're going to fall into the trap of the negativity and you're going to be depressed and then you're going to blame everybody else on your problems. You're going to put your problems on everybody else because you can't fix and navigate through the issues that you need to. No one's coming to save you, ladies and gentlemen. No one's coming to save you. You gotta get up, you gotta do it yourself, and you gotta go out there and be great. That's why this stream this morning is called Greatness. You have to find your greatness. No one's coming to save you. The Calvary's not coming. You got to do it yourself. And if you don't do it yourself, you're going to end up relying on somebody else. And then when you point around and look around, oh, nobody's here to save me. No one should be there to save you. You have to get up and do it yourself. So, when people throw stuff out like this, I don't like it. It's not needed. It paints a wrong picture, and it's not a good energy. It's not a good vibe. You create the vibe that you give off. And I think Joy Taylor's painting a negative picture, and it's really unfortunate because you should be looking forward to the good things. You should want the country to be great. You shouldn't want it to be bad. You should want it to be great, and that's the reality of it. Whether you like Trump or not, you should want the country to succeed. That's the message. But maybe she didn't get the memo. Let me get back into the chat. Shout out to Sassy, says, I've got joy down in my heart. She needs some of that. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. That is for sure. Shout out to you, Tactical, says, Jay, thank you for saying this. You already know. Says, I think it's best said and shown by negotiating not the results together with Trump team and Biden team gave the United States position to the Middle East, one nation under God. Some people think Trump will be the last president elected for a long time. Oh, listen, I'm not going to repeat everything that was said. We know what was said, all the wildness, all the craziness that we've endured. Y'all know me. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. Y'all know me. We're going to keep it real. We keep it real in these morning shows. We don't sugarcoat it. The reality is there was a lot of propaganda. There was a lot of discussions. There was a lot of conversations, a lot of things being promoted that was designed to make both sides look absolutely terrible. When we know that this country has the idea of freedom. Now, for some people, that freedom doesn't exist. We get it. There's situations, there's bad times, there's good times in every country. But I'll tell you this right now, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world than here, rather than here in good old America. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world than in these United States. 100%. I will stand on that hill. So I think at the end of the day, if you allowed people to, mess with your emotions and put you in the light of not feeling great about it, I think you did yourself a disservice, and I think you need to do a little bit more research. That's all. Stop listening to the media. Stop listening to all the propaganda, all the commercials, and all that garbage. Because guess what? The same individuals that were fighting, and talking garbage about each other and putting out the commercials and all that, they were sitting all together at the Jimmy Carter funeral. May he rest in peace. They were all sitting together at the Jimmy Carter funeral. Obama and Trump were talking and joking and giggling like little schoolgirls, and at the funeral, and it looked like they were all together. So that tells you everything you need to know. Whether you're red or blue, at the end of the day, we are all humans, ladies and gentlemen, as we keep it going. Shout out to you, Grace. Shout out to you. Good to see you this morning. Tactical says, Jay, in the preparedness community, we say you are your own first responder. 100%. Jamie says, morning, everyone. Hooked up and ready for chemo. Let's go. Shout out to you, Jamie. Prayers up for you. I hope you are well. I hope everything works out. Keep us updated. Shout out to you, Michelle. Says, I'm here to thrive in 2025. I like that. I like it. That's a great one. Here to thrive in 2025. We're going to make that a slogan, y'all. We're going to make that a slogan. Michelle says she has the freedom to say it. It can't be wrong. Exactly. DJ James says, when the top 1% is all the power, freedom is hard. Freedom's not hard. We know that, at the end of the day, there are powers that be that control things. It hasn't changed. It's not going to change. The people with the money have the influence and the power. We get it. But that is not changing what's going to happen when you wake up tomorrow. You're still going to live the way that you want to live. Right. And so, I think it leads to great conversation, leads to great debate. But when you start breaking things down that way and you start feeding into the rabbit hole, you start letting go a lot of your good energy. Because pretty soon you'll be locked into the conspiracy theories, and then you can't let it go. And, you'll be 80 years old writing papers, hoping that you get some kind of message across. And then when you're gone, nobody's going to miss you. That's it. There's nothing to worry about no more. So why would I spend my time worrying about nonsense when I could be happy, enjoy my life, enjoy my family, and not worry about the garbage? And that's where I'm going to leave that. Shout out to Eric Brown. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good blessed day. Matt F says, I remember him talking bad about a quarterback taking a knee for police brutality. That's his freedom of speech, right? Right? That's his freedom of speech. We're talking about freedom of speech, and people are saying that it's going to be gone in a few days. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. DJ Jean says politics is like WWE. It's all fake. They're on the same team, and it's show for the rest of us. So Matt F, right? He could say that, and then obviously I could retort to that, right? I could retort to that and say, well, he had the right to take a knee, right? He had the right to take a knee, just like you had the right to say, well, he shouldn't have taken a knee. It goes both ways. But we understand that everyone should respect the flag. If you are a U.S. citizen, you need to respect that flag. Put your hand over your heart during the national anthem, right? We know that shouldn't be happening in protest, even though we know people do it. Do they have the right to do it? They sure do. Even though they shouldn't do it, they have the right to do it. That's what the freedom of speech is. This is textbook, first grade stuff. So, I think at the end of the day, when we sit back and we look at these kind of conversations and how people look at things, we talk about freedom and what it is and how, some freedoms are taken, some are not. For me, I look at things, very different. I look at things very different. And there's going to be some people who watch this later on today and they're completely shocked at what I'm saying. This is me. And if you've been watching me long enough, you know who I am. You already know. He didn't have to read between the lines. You already know what Jay was about. So I think the reality is we got to stop with the nonsense. That's it. We got to stop with the nonsense. And these are the conversations that need to be had. Because Joy Taylor, you're doing real good for yourself. Let's just enjoy the freedoms that we have. That's all. So anyone who says anything about freedom here needs to immediately be transported for 24 hours where there's absolutely no freedom. I agree. Shout out to you, Michelle. Says, now let's talk about the other, red and blue. Go Bills. Let's go. We're going to get into them soon. We got a lot to talk about today. Matt F says, I know I can't get a job with my 34 felonies. Well, yeah, 34 felonies. What? All right, Matt. I mean, put in some work, try and get things fixed, man. 34 felonies sounds crazy, though. We're not going to get into that. Mark says, looks like Brock will get about 57 million a year too much. I said between 25 to 40. Someone said I was being insulting to the man. But 57 million is wild. Dak got 60. You're going to pay you're going to pay Brock 57 and he got you to the show? That's interesting. Pretty interesting. Matt F says this soldier told him as respectfully to take a knee. That's why he did it. So, I see where you're going with that now. I see where you're going with that now. Listen, we're gonna keep it moving. We'll be here all day on that. Says, I'm ashamed of the other two zipping their lips. It could have been a discussion. Exactly. I think that's my point from it, right? It's like Joy Taylor said this one thing that should have now led to a discussion, right? That should have now led to a debate. Because if you look at Paul Pierce's face, he don't look too happy, right? They don't look too happy. Right. And this is what he's like with the smile on his face. Like, what the hell's going on? So, I think at the end of the day, she said that, and they weren't expecting it, and they didn't know how to respond to it. I wish I was up there. I would have had a whole lot to say. We'd have been going back and forth for at least 2 to 3 minutes in the segment. It would have went viral for sure, just like this is going right now. So there you go. There you go. Joy Taylor talking crazy, bringing herself back in the news once again. Make sure you guys hit that like, that thumbs up as we keep it going. It's a beautiful Friday morning. So Aaron Rodgers says his future with the Jets hinges on new GM and head coach, which it should, right? What is the direction of the Jets? Where are they going? What is the opportunity for Aaron Rodgers with this franchise moving forward? Some people say it needs to be tore down. And, started anew. But let's go ahead and get into it.
Over the years for exit meetings are where there's somebody taking notes, whether the person you're talking to or somebody else in the room taking notes. And there's constructive criticism on ways to improve how we do things around the building. That's like from player to coach. And then from coach to player, there's constructive ways in which you can show up, do your job better as well. There's some great ones over the years with Mike. Mike was, we used to, because we.
Listen, when you start going back to your old coach, you missing the days of winning. When you start talking about your old coach from decades ago or from years ago, you're missing the winning times. You're missing the emotional highs of being in your glory as we keep it going.
It's such a close relationship. I would be, later in my career, it went by seniority. So, once I got into like the middle 2010s, I was one of the oldest guys on the team. So my slot to meet with Mike, there's 15-minute slots. He met with everybody on the team, which I thought was awesome too. Like literally everybody on the team got a 15-minute slot. And most of the time it went more than that. But we would meet, but then we would meet for an extended time, later in the week or at his house or my house. And
so I like this, right? He's basically mentioning the amount of time that Mike obviously spent with the guys, building that relationship, building that bond, going over strengths and weaknesses and things like that. And it's really good. I'm assuming he's saying this because he wants to see that, out of a new head coach and out of a new situation. How that happens, we know that Rex Ryan was in the conversation and then he wasn't. So who's going to come along there? Well, Mike McCarthy is looking like he's going to end up with the Bears. So we're just going to have to wait and see as far as how the situation with the Jets plays out as we get into this one. Says, like everyone else who follows the New York Jets, quarterback Aaron Rodgers is waiting for the team to fill its head coach and general manager vacancies. His future likely depends on the outcomes. Rodgers, in his first public comments since the Jets season ended, told us that he briefly discussed his future in exit meetings with team ownership. He made it sound like the incoming leadership tandem, not owner Woody Johnson, will determine whether he's back in 2025. I think everybody understands that it's going to come down to a GM and a coach and myself, and whether we all want to do a dance together or if it's not in the cards, said Rodgers, whose relationship with Johnson has appeared strained at times. In their far-reaching searches, the Jets have interviewed and requested interviews with no fewer than 33 candidates for both positions. On Thursday, they spoke with Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith and Houston Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, the 11th and 12th known candidates to interview for the head coaching position. On Friday, Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores and Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley are expected to be interviewed according to the sources by rule. All interviews must be held virtually. On Monday, the Jets can start in-person interviews with coaches whose seasons are over. Like I said, we'll see how this plays out. 33 candidates for the job. Things are definitely, going to be pretty interesting for the Jets. Who's going to come in? Who's got the best opportunity to get this team in good shape? And obviously, if Woody decides to stick with Aaron Rodgers, which coach is going to be, the most effective for him and this team? Who's actually going to be able to get him under control and tame that energy? We know who Aaron Rodgers is. We understand what he brings to the team. We understand that he is also a shell of himself. So getting into this specific topic as far as with Aaron Rodgers, it looks like, okay, well, if you are going to be with the Jets for 2025, who's going to come in? How are you going to, who else are you going to have on this team that's going to help you out? And who are you going to be able to work with so that this Jets franchise can get it in order? I think for me personally, I would just like to see the Jets completely do a rehaul. I think you gave Aaron Rodgers too much money. He's not Tom Brady. He's not I don't think he's gonna be able to go out, in a similar fashion. And unfortunately for the Jets, you've wasted a lot of money. You're losing a lot of talent. There's a lot of people now who are looking at this like, okay, it's not working for me. Maybe I should get up out of here. What's gonna happen with Wilson? What's gonna happen with Adams? There's a lot of conversation there as far as certain players and the energy in that locker room. And so for me, you're going to have, I think, a seasoned veteran really come in there and really know what to do with Aaron Rodgers, really know what to do with that offense and defense, knows how to have good relationships and get people in order and get that locker room back in order. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. We'll see what happens. We'll obviously report on it, as the news comes in. But I just think the Jets are definitely in shambles right now. It's a bad time for New York. For the New York Jets, New Jersey Jets, whatever you want to call it, New York Packers as well. It's a bad time for the Jets. They're going to have to figure it out. And, hopefully they can get the best candidate possible for this team and get them going in the right direction. But getting back to the video, doesn't Aaron Rodgers sound like he's reading a children's book? Let's get back to it.
I always felt like everything I told Mike, got taken to heart, and then he would always have things for me to think about, to work on, to contemplate in the off season. So I really appreciate his feedback over the years. It always made me feel like I was being listened to, and that there were things that we could improve on moving forward. But those meetings went hours. These were much shorter than that. I gave some constructive things. There's always things. There's so much that goes into the whole thing. There's the food part, there's the locker room, there's travel, there's hotel stuff. There's different, you're just giving a little constructive.
So there you go. Like I said, sounds like he's always reading a children's book when he's talking in these interviews. It's kind of funny. But there you go. Definitely reminiscing as far as the kind of scenario that he'd want, in the future. And it makes sense, without a doubt. Definitely makes sense. You want to have a close relationship with your coach. You want to have somebody that you believe in. You want to have somebody that's actually a leader. And, I think for someone like Aaron Rodgers, he's looking at it from a point of, I don't want somebody to come in that's not going to actually know what to do with, with me in this franchise. That's not going to know how to understand me. That's not going to take the time out to work with me and get us going on the right foot. So I get it. But on the flip side, I think to end it well, Aaron, I think your antics definitely need to change if you're going to stick with the Jets for this next season as well. 100%. And that's where we'll leave it as we get into the chat. Says Keyshawn is like, no, you did it. It's like he turned his head like, no, she didn't. Rodgers looks like Steve Carell. Yo, I got a buddy. Real good friend of mine, Vinny. He looks just like Aaron Rodgers. I promise you, if this guy threw on a Jets helmet and a Rodgers jersey, he could walk around and sign autographs. That's how close he looks to Aaron Rodgers. Shout out to you, Vinny. He looks literally almost just like the guy. Same beard and everything. The eyes. It's kind of funny. We talked about it before. I was actually going to try and get him on one of these shows, and we are just going to troll you guys as like a fake Aaron Rodgers interview. That's how close he looks like to the man. It's kind of funny. Mark says he has more grade than me, and I'm 52. Retire, buddy. Go to Hall of Fame and enjoy life again. Yeah, I mean, he's got that option, right? He definitely has that option. Why put your body through more stress and pain? If it's not there, it's not there. If the time's up, the time's up. I get the money's good, right? They're gonna pay you well. You're Aaron Rodgers. Your name commands a good pay, commands respect. But the question is, is it over for you, right? Are you at the end? You had the injury, right? That set you back a season. You come back, you have another terrible season. So I think, if you do decide to go the routing you brought back on for the next season, this could be very well the last one, right? 3 strikes, you're out. So we'll see how it goes. Shout out to you, Mr. Fulton. Says, hello, Monday, January 20th is my big 26th birthday. Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. Shout out to you. Tatico says, Jay, my franchise has Will Levis and is the quarterback, and I wouldn't want Aaron Rodgers. Dude is weird, bro. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is definitely an acquired taste quarterback for sure. Like I said, I just don't see it. But I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. Maybe he comes back for another year. So if Aaron could do all the jobs and have 50 Aarons running the Jets, he would. Just it's like, imagine a team full of Aaron Rodgers. Wow. Talk about the Rodgers rate. DJ Jean says Washington Commanders next year are going to be the Washington Orange Skins. We're going to have yellow come-overs on their helmets. That's insane. I think they should change the name back. I do. I think they should change the name back. It should be the Redskins, but that PC culture. Gay Smasher says, good morning, Jay. Happy Friday. NFL teams are going to, and it will always change. Makes it a great sport. Players come and go, and the GOATs shine on. I agree. Shout out to you, Jason. Let's go. The championships games is Bills versus the what is that? Bills, what is that? Jason, I don't know what that is, man. I don't know what that emoji is. I got the Lions. What the Rams? Okay, Lions, Rams. What is that other one though? I don't know what the other one is. So the Texans, maybe? Is that the Texans? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, okay, I get it now. I get it. The horns. All right, I get it. I was a little thrown off. It didn't look like nothing that would have made sense. I get it now. So Bills, Texans, and Lions, Rams in the championship games. That ram looks more like a sheep. You don't want them Lions going against sheeps now. Shout out to you, Gay Smasher. Good morning. Cedar Key, Florida Bills Mafia in the building. DJ Jean says, if you brought your buddy on a Friday night after everyone had a few, we'd be fooled. Interesting. For sure, without a doubt. All right, let's keep it going. Make sure you guys hit that like, that thumbs up as we keep it going. On to the next one. The NFL is looking to enforce security. They're going to bump it up as they need to. This is one of the most significant events that happens once a year. A lot of people, a lot of bad actors out there. So I'm actually glad to hear this as we get into it. It says NFL law enforcement ramp up New Orleans Super Bowl security. The NFL and federal law enforcement are increasing security for Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans in response to the New Year's Day terrorist attack on Bourbon Street that unalived 14 people, officials told ESPN. Officials acknowledged that the New Orleans attack, in which a man drove a truck through crowds, prompted authorities to add extra manpower and resources to one of the most highly protected sporting events in the nation. We've increased our security posture significantly so that people can come here. They can see a strong law enforcement presence, said Eric Delane, special agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations in New Orleans, who is leading federal coordination for Super Bowl 59. I'd like to say it doesn't change a lot in our security planning, but it does change things. The NFL's chief security officer, Kathy Lanier, told ESPN, are we doing anything differently? Of course. More than 125,000 people are expected to travel to New Orleans for the Super Bowl on February 9th, just 5 weeks after the attack, which led to the postponement of the Sugar Bowl. 125,000 people. That's a lot of people. A lot of people to watch, monitor. And it's really unfortunate, right? We know things are happening throughout the world. Things are happening throughout, the United States domestically. And it's really sad, right? You gotta, be watchful if you go out to the grocery store. You gotta be watchful if you go to the mall. You got to be watchful. You go to school every day. And so it's really sad, going to a sporting event like this, you got to be, cautious. You got to look at certain things. You got to pay attention to suspicious people. There's a lot. And, if you're traveling down there, you head into the Super Bowl, you want to keep your head on the swivel, you want to make sure that, you're paying attention to things that do look suspicious as well. You want to be a part of the help. And it's really sad that we live in this kind of society. And that's, it's really sad. There are people out there that have significant problems. There's people out there who have significant issues, mental issues, and they're looking to ruin other people's time. They're looking to ruin other people's happiness. And, everyone needs to be safe. Everyone needs to be, sure in their traveling and that, something's not going to happen to them. So it's good that the NFL and, Homeland Security is stepping up protections and the security, at the Super Bowl here as we keep it going. Says Delane, who is like Lanier, is in New Orleans this week prepping for the event, said the increased security presence will soon be obvious. There will be SWAT team members, armored vehicles, special agents on rooftops, government surveillance drones, and extra security around the extra cameras around the city. According to Delane, the U.S. Coast Guard and U.S. Customs and Border Patrol will patrol the Mississippi River, and the Transportation Safety Administration will deploy more than 90 bomb-sniffing dogs. My goal was that you couldn't walk a city block in downtown New Orleans without at least encountering one law enforcement official. Delane said, I'm not trying to make people afraid. I want people to see that we're prepared. And like I said, I like this. I definitely agree with it. Some people may think it's, cumbersome, or some people may think that it's too much. I don't think you can put a price on safety and security. I don't think you can. I think in this day and age, you want to make sure that an event like this is definitely well protected. You want to have, police walking around. You want to have the dogs walking around. That way, if anything does happen, it can be taken care of swiftly, quickly. And that's the bottom line. Let me hop into the chat. Shout out to you, Mark. It didn't look like that. You get my point. Reverend, what up, man? What up, though? Jamie says it's been decided. Bills will win Sunday. Another Patience ringtone is the shout song, Go Bills. Let's go. Shout out to you, Jamie. Reverend says 125,000 people. Wow. That's a small city. 125,000 people in New Orleans. I mean, and that's just an estimation, right? That's just an estimation. I'm sure there's probably going to be, a lot more than that just hanging out around the city. Because there's going to be a lot of people going into the stadium, hanging around New Orleans. It's going to be a lot of traffic for sure. Matt F says we need better laws. It's a whole nother topic. So what I mean is that 125,000 is enough for a small city. Yeah. I think the problem is they're not going to be able to control all the traffic, right? So they're going to be around the stadium. They'll obviously, be patrolling the Mississippi River, things like that. They'll have the 90 bomb sniffing dogs. So they're definitely going to patrol as much as they can. But even with it being a small city, that's a lot of people in it. And a lot of people being monitored. But for the most part, I think they have it figured out. And like I said, hopefully nothing happens. Right? We don't want anything to happen. We want people to have a good time. It's Super Bowl. We want to be able to enjoy ourselves. We know last year there was a certain situation that happened at the Super Bowl parade for the Chiefs, right? You had the situation where there was a shooting. Unfortunately, it was pretty far away from the parade. But that situation that happened far from the parade affected the actual parade. It was a lot of people down there. There was a lot of people freaking out. We actually reported on it when it happened. But even being far from the parade directly, it created chaos down there. It was a lot of people. So you just don't want to have that kind of situation for the Super Bowl. And you don't want that many people to be involved in something like that or be around it, because it can lead to a very bad situation. So shout out to the NFL, Homeland Security, making sure the people are safe. And if you go down there, make sure you have yourself a good time. I'll tell you this right now: if the Bills head to the Super Bowl, I'm going down to Louisiana. I don't care what it costs. We down there, y'all. We going live. If the Bills go to the Super Bowl, Jay is on a plane. I don't care if I can't get in the stadium. I'll be by it. I'll be streaming from the hotel room, but I'll be in Louisiana. I'll be down in New Orleans if the Bills go. Let me hop into the chat. Shout out to you, Josh Hawkins. Good morning. Good morning. Shout out to you, Wendy Lee. Says good morning, Jay. Hey, from LA. How you guys doing down there? Are the fires being tamed? Is that pretty much over? Shout out to you, Wendy. Steve says, good morning, brother Jay. I was finally able to catch you live. Awesome streams all week, without a doubt. Shout out to you, Steve. Good morning. Good morning. Dan, I remember. I do. Let's keep it going. Cameras don't prevent anything. Luigi proved that. I mean, you're not lying. But, the patrols and the dogs will, that's for sure. Cameras don't stop nothing, but I think, you really got to be on some craziness to start something with all that security walking around. So, Matt F says, I live in Louisiana. Hope to see you, my brother. Listen, if I end up down there, the Bills win, let's have a little meetup. Let's have a little meetup. Try. I'm sure if the Bills head to the Super Bowl, I'll see a lot of you down there anyways. So we might as well just make it happen. We'll definitely set that up for sure. So let's keep it going. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that thumbs up as we move on to the next story here. Brady plans to continue dual role with Fox and Raiders. So we know that he got the $300 million deal with Fox for commentating and, doing his analysis. Also, he owns part of the Raiders. So, Tom Brady doing big things after moving on from the league. And let's get into this one. Says Tom Brady plans to be in the Fox broadcast booth for the duration of his 10-year contract. His agent, Don Yee, told the Sports Business Journal on Thursday. Yee's comments to the outlet came as talks continue to grow about Brady's dual role as an NFL analyst and limited owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. The team fired coach Antonio Pierce and general manager Tom Telesco after its 4-13 season, and Brady reportedly will be a part of the collaborative committee to interview replacements and support team owner Mark Davis throughout the hiring process. So this is interesting, right? We know that Antonio was definitely great for the Raiders. He then moved up to being the head coach. Things didn't really work out. But what did he have? He had O'Connell. He had Minshew. I don't really think he had much to work with. And unfortunately for him, the team goes 4-13. Adams leaves. Max Crosby, going through his motions. Just that team overall, was not good. Josh Jacobs moves on. It was really unfortunate. And so, they end up letting go Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco. And so now Brady is going to be making a decision with Mark Davis as far as, bringing someone else on. I think it'll be good. I think Tom Brady, has a good idea as far as, what it's going to take for a coach to come in and change things up and, figure out who's going to be good at that role. There's a lot of conversations as far as, Deion Sanders this week, as far as the Cowboys and things like that. Even, Shador said he'd love to play for the Raiders. So who knows how this situation is going to wind up. It may be, a couple weeks and maybe months before we really know, but we'll keep it going. It says aside from the time commitment needed for both roles, some has questioned a potential conflict of interest for Brady. The NFL has imposed a set of restrictions for the 7-time Super Bowl winning quarterback given his dual role. But cases such as this Saturday when Brady and Fox play-by-play man Kevin Burkhardt will call the Commanders-Lions playoff game. Detroit coordinators Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn have interviewed for the Raiders head coaching job, have led to questions. But Yee told the Sports Business Journal that Brady has no plans to leave after one or any other season in the booth. Tom has had tremendous amount of fun working with Fox this year, and he's really excited about the future with Fox and his growth on their team. Yee said, and this year was the first year of a long relationship. Brady signed a 10-year, $375 million contract with Fox in 2022. NFL owners approved his minority stake in the Raiders in October. So there you go. there's a lot of people who are complaining about Tom Brady commentating and, oh, I don't like how he commentates and, he's doing too much. My big thing with Tom, I think, he was excited. He's excited to be up there in that booth and talking about the game. So he may talk a little bit more than what we're used to. But if there's anybody who knows the game, it's Tom Brady. So I think he's okay. I think he's okay. I think he's going to grow more into it. I think he's going to refine, how he calls the games and things like that. I think for me, if I had to choose between Tom Brady and Chris Collinsworth, I'd have to go Tom. So there you go. There you go. Make sure you guys hit that like, that thumbs up as we get back to the chat. Wendy says some fires are still burning. Contain 18% new fires in San Fernando. Air quality not good. N95 masks being given out. Continue to pray for us. Without a doubt, Wendy, prayers up for Los Angeles. Hopefully you guys can get out of the mess of the fires there. It's really unfortunate. I was hoping to hear good news, but it sounds like it's still going on. It's tough. I've been seeing the videos and the pictures and things like that. There was also some weird story about, 2028 and the Olympics and all this kind of stuff. And, like I said, these kind of situations happen and we see so much propaganda. We see so much garbage. I'm just hoping that you guys are okay. And hopefully the fires will be contained and, this nightmare will be over. So prayers up for you guys, without a doubt. It says, only Raiders I like play it with Paul Revere. Says fries and double cheeseburgers today with my family. Okay, that actually sounds pretty good. Little burger and fry combo, double cheeseburgers. All right, I'm down with it. I like it. That sound pretty good. Sounds pretty good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on to the next one. As you hit that like, hit that thumbs up. Conversation here as we get into it. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Which superstar quarterback has the edge between the two MVP candidates? Let's get into it. It says, yes, the Super Bowl is always the NFL's most anticipated game of the season, but the 2024 AFC divisional round showdown of the third-seeded Baltimore Ravens and the second-seeded Buffalo Bills can give the big game a run for its money this season. Now, without a doubt, I do think this is probably going to be one of the biggest games of these playoffs leading into the championship and championships and the Super Bowl. This almost has that Super Bowl feel to it. When you look at, the juggernaut of the Ravens team, when you look at the ambition, the motivation, and the heart of the Bills, you kind of get that Super Bowl atmosphere. I mean, this could be a Super Bowl matchup if they weren't in the same division, and it would have all the hype. It would have all the makings of it. So without a doubt, I do think that this is going to be a huge game. And it's definitely going to have that feel to it, and we will be streaming it and having it a good time. It says that's because Sunday night's game features both of the NFL's all-pro quarterbacks and the league's likely two top finishers in the 2024 NFL MVP voting. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, first-team All-Pro, and Bills quarterback Josh Allen, second-team All-Pro. This makes this game so tantalizing because these two fan bases have a shot at postseason bragging rights in a game that features their two quarterback Goliaths. Jackson, 45 total touchdowns, 9 turnovers, versus Allen, 40 total touchdowns, 8 turnovers. On Sunday night is the first ever playoff matchup between two starting quarterbacks who produced at least 40 total touchdowns and under 10 turnovers in a regular season. Both quarterbacks balling. Both quarterbacks leading their respective franchises to greatness. And I think at the end of the day, this is why this game is so significant. Right? So much hype on Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, so much hype on Josh Allen and James Cook. And when you look at obviously the great things that Derrick Henry has been doing and opening up that field for Lamar Jackson, you can't help but say the expectations are at an all-time high for this Ravens team to come into Highmark Stadium and do very good. But this ain't the same Bills team that the Ravens beat coming into these playoffs. The Bills were down seven individuals that were injured. And so, now you've got a Bills team that is a little bit more healthy. You got a Bills team that is a little bit more refined. You got a Bills team that has built enough chemistry to make them true contenders leading into these playoffs. As we get into the stats here, it says Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson this regular season. Win-loss record: Jackson 12-5, Allen 13-4. Total touchdowns: 45 for Jackson, 40 for Allen. Total yards: 5,087 for Jackson, 4,269 for Allen. Turnovers: 9 for Jackson, 8 for Allen. Years ago, that may have been different, right? Allen has definitely toned down his turnovers. He has definitely refined his game more as far as his accuracy. And so, when I look at Allen and his growth over the years, I look at it like that's a win. He's now playing better football. He's now making better decisions. He's now focused at a higher level and playing some of the best football in his career. As we keep it going. So which all-pro quarterback will lead their team to victory, a spot in the AFC championship game on Sunday night? The two quarterbacks are 2-2 against each other, with Allen's Bills winning the sole playoff game in the 2020 divisional round 17-3. Although that was a game Jackson had exited in the second half because of a concussion, let's take a look at the biggest matchup on each side of the ball to determine where the advantages are and predict a winner. Let me hop into the chat before we get into that. Shout out to Tatigo, says, I watch these late night streams on the fire. So many ugly people praising this strategy. What? Praising the tragedy. Tragedy. Humanity is screwed, Jay said. Yeah, that's wild. Why would someone praise a tragedy? What kind of world are we in? It's unfathomable. Dan says, I want Josh Allen because of two reasons. I'm a Steelers fan, and there's you, my brother. Shout out to you, Dan. Robert says, this will be the Bills' toughest game of the year. Get by those Ravens, and I think the Bills won't be stopped. Yeah. Like I said before, I think whoever wins this game will go on to the Super Bowl. 100%. You've got two teams that have the task at hand and have one goal in their minds, and that is to get to the promised land. That is to get to a Lombardi trophy. And I don't think anyone that comes after whoever wins this game is going to stand a chance. I really don't. You could say the Texans, you can say the Chiefs, whatever happens there. Listen, I think whoever comes as the victor from this game will definitely be the one that ends up in the Super Bowl. 100%. So let's keep it going. Ravens versus Bills defense. The advantage, Ravens in a big way. The same area that gave Buffalo fits in the Ravens 35-10 win over the Bills in Baltimore in Week 4 remains an issue entering Sunday night. Baltimore's multifaceted run game versus the Bills defense, much more geared towards stopping the pass. That day, Ravens running back Derrick Henry ripped off an 87-yard running touchdown on Baltimore's first play from scrimmage, and the Ravens scored a touchdown on each of their first three drives to go up 21-3 in the blink of an eye. Henry had his best game of the season with 199 rushing yards on 24 carries, an average of 8.3 yards per carry, 150 of which came on 3 runs. The 87-yard touchdown, a 25-yard run, and a 38-yard run. The Ravens outrushed the Bills 271-81 while averaging 5.2 yards before contact per carry. That day, Jackson threw for an efficient 156 yards and 2 touchdowns on 13 of 18 passing, while adding 54 rushing yards and a touchdown on 13 carries for an average of 9 yards per carry. So, yeah, we already know this, right? Why am I bringing it up now? Bringing it up now because I like this narrative. I like this narrative of, well, the Baltimore Ravens are just going to run the ball and destroy the Bills because the Bills have a bad run defense. Guess what? You know who else had a good run defense? These guys. The Lions. You also know who had a really good run game? The Lions. The Lions ran for 197 yards against this Bills defense, and guess what? They lost by 6 points. The score was 48-42. You want me to get into another one? We'll get into the Chiefs. The Chiefs put up 78 rushing yards. They lost 21-30. So when we talk about the run game, I don't care about the numbers no more. We understand that the Bills have not so good of a running defense. We get that. It's been beat to death. But when I go back and I look at the numbers of week 4, and then I look at the numbers of the Lions game, it's damn near even. But guess what? The Bills beat the Lions. The Bills beat the Chiefs and the Lions. So when we talk about juggernauts being on the road and coming into Highmark Stadium, the running yards don't matter to me. Because guess what? If you can't stop that offense from getting back down the field and scoring as well, then you're going to be in for a shootout. So now who's going to put up the most points? Well, I told you guys before that I'd like to see this team put up 40 points in these playoffs. They could have put up 40 against those Broncos. They decided not to. They played it safe. They said, all right, we're just going to go ahead and down it, go down, run the clock, get the victory, and move on up out of here. But they definitely could have scored another touchdown and made it 40 points. And, they played some, complimentary football, good sportsmanship. So I think in this game, the Bills are definitely going to have to put up 40, right? Play your best game, play your offense, put up 40. In my prediction, I took the Bills by 14. Why did I take them by 14? Because the offense in Highmark Stadium in that snow is going to play lights out. The Bills are at home in that snow at Highmark Stadium. It's going to be very cold. This is where the Bills will thrive because guess what? That ball turns into a rock. It's cold. That turf is going to be like concrete. And we all know that Lamar Jackson hasn't thrown for a touchdown in the postseason on the road. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this works out because you're going to be on the ground. You're going to be running that ball between Lamar and Henry. Now, the problem is, let's say the run does get stopped. There's going to be your big problem because the expectation was, we're just going to come in and run the ball and use Henry to move it and get those first downs. If the Bills defense can stop Henry, that's going to lead to a very bad situation for the Ravens because the game plan doesn't consist on an all passing game in that snow and in cold weather for Baltimore. They're going to rely on their legs. They're going to rely on that ground game and try to mix it up, obviously, with the screen plays and, short passes. But I just don't see how you're going to have a big passing game in Buffalo. And it's cold. It's going to be windy in the snow. And that's definitely going to change things and create some opportunities for the Bills defense as well. So shout out to you, Jonas. Says Bills 34-27. Okay. Thomas says Ravens win 41-38 overtime. Interesting. All right. Shout out to you, Thomas. Robert says right because the Bills already know that these Ravens are going to do so. I would say the Bills have an advantage on what to do, plus put up 35 plus, and Lamar Chokes might have an off day in the cold. Interesting. All right. Shout out to you, Dad. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. Snow games are cool. Home turf. I agree. DJ James says, don't be so proud of the Bills win over KC. Denver Broncos did it too. I mean, that's a divisional rival. Right? That's a divisional rival. If anybody has a good opportunity, listen, the Raiders give Kansas City a hard time. But we know the bad blood that the Bills and Kansas City has. So my point is, when I bring up the running and beating what we call quote unquote juggernauts in Kansas City and Detroit, that means something coming into this game because the narrative is, see, if you say that, then we need to tell the Ravens fans to stop bringing up week 4 against the Bills. Don't be so proud of that because these playoffs are going to be very different. Because that's all I've been hearing. Y'all know, I read all through the social media, every prediction page, everyone talking about Lamar Jackson, everyone talking about Josh Allen. I go through the comments. All I see is, the Bills got smoked in week 4. Derrick Henry ran for 200. That's all I see. I don't see nothing talking about what happened previously in the playoffs. That's all they get to go back to. This is where the buck stops. This is where the conversation stops. And I think at the end of the day, the running's not going to matter. It's going to be about the points that you put up. Because you can run all day and not score a touchdown. Saquon Barkley just did that. Von Miller will have a strip sack and a scoop and score against the Ravens. Interesting. That'll be very interesting. Tactical says the Bills beat the best two teams in the league this year. Yes, they did. Washington and the Lions didn't face each other this year. Now that game will be very interesting. 100%. Let's keep it going with this before we wrap it up. Says that's a horrible matchup for the Bills, who play their base defense at the lowest rate, 4% of their plays in the NFL this season. What that means is Buffalo heavily prefers to use the speed of sub packages like nickel 5, 5 defensive backs on the field, dime 6 defensive backs in the field, or quarter 7 or more defensive backs on the field. Buffalo was in its base defense at a much higher rate than normal, 26% in week 4, but that didn't change much. Are we going to say why they were doing that? Because it was the injuries involved. Come on, CBS Sports. Why are we leaving that part out? A counter one might immediately suggest is that just load the box with at least 8 defenders. Well, that hasn't really worked against Henry this season. He's seen the highest rate of his carries, 33%, against at least 8 men in the box this season. Minimum 200 carries this season per CBS Sports Research. So, yeah, you don't load the box against Henry. Some of his best runs either end up in that C gap or out to the edge. So right then and there, that tells you that you don't load the box. You need to make sure that your secondary has space and move up when they go with the run play, because Derrick Henry is going to find some space. You want to limit that space to about 3 to 4 yards a run. So you don't just press the line because he has power and he's going to break through. You make sure that you have a second set of defenders back there who can help out if the initial line can't get that stop. So we'll just have to see how, Sean McDermott puts this together. But there's a lot of reliance on Henry. And so my question is this. With the Bills knowing that, and with Jim Harbaugh knowing that, John Harbaugh, knowing that as far as coming into this game, I think the opportunity comes into, okay, I need to mix this up a little bit. Maybe we don't go with Derrick Henry so heavy in the first quarter, right, to throw things off. Maybe we go with Lamar. We keep Henry in there as far as, deception, little RPO, to kind of mix things up, because I just don't see them coming out with Henry in the first quarter and being so predictable in a sense. I just don't see that working. Shout out to you, Sabrina. Good morning to you. So Jay, we know you can throw all those stats out the window on that week 4 game. The Ravens will run the ball and the Bills know it. Milano will, with a punch out, Bills recover, fumble. Man, y'all talking about fumbling. All right. I mean, I like it. Y'all talking about fumbling and stuff. I definitely think it's one of those things where the cold weather will change things. That ball gets slippery, gets in that snow, that ice. Somebody takes a good hit, that ball comes out. There may be a lot of that on both sides, right? Protect the ball. That's going to be the main thing when it comes to both sides. So, that's when the fear is going to set in, right? The fear will set in. I don't want to make a mistake. I got to be Superman, right? And it's hard to fight all those situations through the elements in a game like this when your nerves are going to be at an all-time high. Somebody's going to make a mistake. There will be mistakes made. The question is, who's going to capitalize on those mistakes in such a significant game? Without a doubt. So shout out to you guys. Make sure you hit that like, that thumbs up as we keep it going. Shout out to you, Sabrina. I appreciate you. Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be great for sure. The cold weather will make the ball feel like a cold rock. Without a doubt. Thomas says, but if Buffalo goes up 14-3 in the first quarter, Buffalo wins 37-34, no overtime. All right now, Thomas, what are you doing now? You just said Ravens win 41-38 overtime, and then you're going to come back with But if Buffalo goes up 14-3 in the first quarter, Buffalo wins 37-34, no overtime. Thomas trying to cover himself, y'all. We don't do that around here. We stand on our predictions. You got to choose one. We're not going to let you ride the fence. He want to make predictions for both sides to cover his butt. We don't do that. We don't do that. No, I mean, listen, like I said, for me, I think there's going to be some issues made. I think there's going to be mistakes on both sides of the field. But the advantage for me is Bills being at home. That crowd, that 12th man, it's going to be heavy out there. It's going to be intensive. Like I said, I'm taking the Bills by 14. I'm not changing that. I'm not going back on it. Sunday comes. Jay, who do you got? What's your score predictions? Bills by 14. Bills by 14. I'm not changing it. I played Madden yesterday. I played like 4 games. I ran into Baltimore. I hit him with my blitz packages. Stopped him a couple times. I came down. I had like 14. He scored. He got in. He then went for 2. He had 8. I came down the field, scored again. Went for 2. I had 22. He had 8. He tried to come down with Lamar, throw the Bateman. I picked it off, and then he quit the game. So it was 22-8 there. I've been saying 14 for the past week, so the prophecy will be fulfilled. The prophecy will be fulfilled this Sunday, y'all. It will be fulfilled this Sunday. All jokes aside, I'm excited for it. I'm ready. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm not nervous. I'm not concerned. I'm just ready to enjoy the time with you guys and have some fun with this. No matter what happens, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Says, hope Josh has his best game of the year. Love his receivers, and he has so many Go Bills. Shout out to you, Good Fly, without a doubt. He has so many different options out there. So many people willing to make a play. So many people that can make a play. And I do think that's going to be where, John has such an issue as far as figuring out, well, who's he going to rely on, right? Well, Josh Allen's not relying on any one receiver. And that leads to a great opportunity for this Bills offense to move the ball, because we know that all these guys can catch the ball. They went through the motions. They went through the issues. They played in the snow. They played in the cold. And, I do think that someone to watch in this game is going to be Coleman, right? Is Coleman going to rise to the occasion? Well, you've been in this cold for a little while now. Have you adjusted to it? You ready to go? You ready to ball? This is your moment. And I think, watching Coleman is going to be something that is going to be a breath of fresh air, seeing how he responds to this moment, because this will be a big game for him for sure. For sure. Reverend says, is this a slow start or an intense full 60-minute game? That's a good question. And I like that question, because we would love to think that this is just going to be a full-on, intense, crazy, back and forth, wild game. With the snow, I can definitely see a lot of issues. I can definitely see this being a flag-heavy game, defensive jumps, false starts. I could definitely see the refs getting a little happy. I'm thinking a slow burn. Maybe it'll get going, right around the second quarter after, the intensity slows down a little bit. But I'm thinking a slow burn to start off. It'll probably get going around the second quarter. So shout out to Cody, says Mr. Brightside. Got to play that in the fourth quarter. Thomas says first quarter most important for Chiefs being off for a couple weeks. So why? I believe game could be determined by the first quarter and a half. You could never determine a game by the first quarter. There's just so much football that's going to happen in the second, third, and fourth. Even if you, you look back to the Falcons and the Patriots. You look back to that Super Bowl, right? It was halftime and everybody thought it was over. And you look at Tom Brady and you know that the game's not over. You know, these are the divisional playoffs. Anything can happen at any moment. So we're not looking at the first quarter to scheme any kind of situation. We're going to be watching all 4 quarters to the end. Shout out to you, Michelle. Have a great day. Have a great day. Shout out to you. Thomas says, what score do you guys see at half? That's a question for the chat. What do you guys see? What do you guys see as far as score at the half? Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Before we wrap things up and get up out of here. Robert says Denver scored 7 in the first quarter and the Bills stuffed them the rest of the way. I agree. Says OSU beat Texas in a great revenge battle. Buffalo is hunting Ravens. It is a dish served cold in Orchard Park. 2 touchdowns is a bit much, though. Go Bills 28-35. Okay. Shout out to you, Michelle. Like I said, we'll see. It's going to be a good one. If I got to go my score prediction, I don't think it's going to be a super, super high scoring game, even though I would like to be. I'd probably go. I'm going to have to go Bills 32. Bills 32. Ravens 14. That's where I'm going. So there it is, y'all. There it is. So there you go. Obviously, if you're just coming in, I'm going to post up the clips for you guys if you didn't catch the whole show. Much love to the Wrench Gang. Much love to the family, all the listeners, all the watchers. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Have yourself a great, great Friday. Have yourself a great, great Friday, TGIF. And we'll see you all tomorrow for the divisional playoffs. It's going to be great. I'm excited. Make sure you subscribe if you have not. Turn on that bell and enjoy your Friday, y'all. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thomas says, want to make a bet, JR, $50? I would, but we don't have any history, bro. People know I do bet people that I have history with. If I see you around more, we could make it happen. I just don't want to win and then, you disappear and all that good stuff. So I don't want to win and then you disappear, but if you win, I got to cough it up immediately. So, you stick around. We'll see. I gotta see you around a lot. I've done best with channel members and things like that, and it's been great. But I only bet people that I've seen around for a while. So we do it time to time. So scared. Thomas, you can't bait me, my friend. You listen, there is no baiting me. All right. You could say I'm scared, you could say I'm shook, all that. There's no baiting me. I have a strict set of rules and a strict set of principles that I adhere to. And if you asked me last season to bet you and I said no, and I'd seen you around and you've been on some streams and you've been rocking with me for, the last year. And then you ask me now, let's do it. Right. If you ask me now and it's been a year's time. All right, cool. I've seen you around, you've been on the channel for a minute. It would make sense. But you just asked me out of nowhere. And it's like, yo, Jay, you want to bet me $50? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I ain't just gonna bet you $50. I'm gonna bring some pressure and show you I ain't scared. I'm gonna bring some pressure. So let me know. Shout out to you guys. Drop your score predictions in the chat. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out, everybody.